17 rarest Black people in the world. What if everything you thought you knew about beauty was music, incomplete, or even wrong? Across the world, there are individuals whose appearances are so rare, so striking, music, that people once questioned if they were real. But these are not myths. They are living music proof that human diversity is far more extraordinary than we imagine. From melanin so deep it glows music, like midnight to eyes that defy genetics, these stories will challenge your perception of identity itself. So, before you scroll away, ask yourself, have we been celebrating beauty or limiting it? Watch till the end and don't forget to like, comment, music, and subscribe to Memory Lane Black People to keep these powerful stories alive. Ralph Souffrant. Ralph Souffrant's story doesn't begin on a runway. It begins in the shadows of rejection, in the quiet pain of being seen as different, long before the world would call him extraordinary. Born and raised in Haiti, Ralph grew up in a community where his appearance set him apart in ways he never asked for. His skin, music, marked by vitiligo and scattered with freckles, made him the target of relentless bullying. Children mocked him, strangers stared, and even adults whispered. In a society where conformity often meant acceptance, Ralph stood music out, and at first, that difference felt like a burden. But what the world labeled as flaws would eventually become his signature. Life in Haiti was not easy. Music Ralph faced not only social isolation, but also economic hardship. Food insecurity, unstable living conditions, and uncertainty shaped his early years. Yet within that struggle, music he found discipline. Physical fitness became his escape, a space where he could reclaim control, music over his body and identity. It was during one of these training sessions in a public park that his life changed forever. A photographer noticed him. Music, not with pity, but with curiosity and admiration. That moment marked the beginning of a transformation Ralph never could have imagined. By the mid-2000s, music, his striking look began to gain attention beyond his local environment. His unique pigmentation, once a source of ridicule, music became the very thing that captivated the fashion world. Agencies took interest, and soon, Ralph found himself stepping into an industry that had long excluded people who looked like him. His breakthrough came when he walked in Kanye West's Yeezy Season 3 show, an event known for challenging traditional beauty standards. On that stage, Ralph wasn't hiding anymore. He was being seen, fully and unapologetically. Yet even as his career grew, Ralph remained grounded in his story. He spoke openly about his past, music not to seek sympathy, but to inspire resilience. He became more than a model. He became a symbol of self-acceptance, music, in a world that often pressures individuals to change. His presence in campaigns and editorials sent a clear message. Beauty is not about perfection, it's about authenticity. What makes Ralph Souffrant truly rare isn't just his appearance, it's his transformation. Music, he turned pain into power, rejection into recognition, and in doing so, he redefined what it means to be seen. His journey reminds us that the very things the world tries to erase can, music, become the reasons it remembers you. In a culture obsessed with fitting in, Ralph chose something far more powerful. He chose to music stand out. Jare Ijalana. Jare Ijalana didn't rise to fame through fame itself. She emerged as a moment the world couldn't ignore. In 2018, a series of portraits taken by Nigerian photographer Mof Bamuyiwa introduced a young girl whose face seemed almost surreal. At just 5 years old, Jare captivated millions with her soft features, natural Afro-texture hair, and strikingly light-toned eyes that created an illusion of something almost otherworldly. Social media quickly crowned her the most beautiful girl in the world. But behind that viral label was something far more meaningful than aesthetics. Born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, Jare represents a new era of African beauty, one that is not filtered, altered, or redefined for global music acceptance, but celebrated in its authenticity. Her rise was organic. There were no major campaigns or corporate strategies behind her initial exposure, just a powerful image that music resonated across cultures. Within days, her photos were shared across continents, drawing admiration from fashion insiders, music photographers, and everyday viewers alike. What makes Jare Ijalana truly rare isn't just her appearance, but the context in which music it exists. For decades, global beauty standards often sidelined African features, especially in mainstream media. Music. Yet here was a young Nigerian girl, unapologetically herself, becoming a global symbol of beauty without compromise. Music. Her presence challenged long-standing narratives and opened doors for broader representation, particularly for children of African descent. As her popularity grew, so did opportunities. Alongside her sisters, she became part of a small but influential modeling presence, Music, working on editorial shoots that emphasized natural beauty and cultural identity. However, unlike many child sensations who are pushed to Music quickly into commercial fame, Jare's family has taken a measured approach. Education, normal childhood experiences, and emotional well-being have remained priorities. Music. This balance has allowed her to grow not just as a public figure, but as a child with space to develop her identity beyond the spotlight. Music. Over time, Jare's influence has extended beyond fashion imagery. Music has become a quiet symbol of confidence for young girls who rarely see themselves represented in global media. Her story encourages a shift in perspective. Music, that beauty is not something to be molded into a universal standard, but something that exists in many forms, cultures, and expressions. There is also a deeper human element to her journey. At an age when most children are still discovering the world, Jare has already impacted how the world sees beauty. Music, yet her story reminds us of something essential. Admiration should never replace protection. Music, behind every viral image is a real life, a future still being shaped. Jare Ijalana is not just rare because of how she looks. She is rare because she arrived at the intersection of innocence, identity, and global change, quietly reshaping perceptions without ever having to say a word. Nyakim Gatwech. Nyakim Gatwech's story doesn't just challenge beauty, music standards, it dismantles them entirely. Born in Ethiopia to South Sudanese parents and raised Music between refugee camps in the United States, her journey is one shaped by displacement, music identity, and an unbreakable sense of self. Long before the world would crown her the queen of the dark, Music, Nyakim was a young girl navigating a world that often told her she was too dark, Music, to be seen, let alone celebrated. Growing up in the US, she faced relentless colorism. Classmates mocked Music, her complexion. Strangers suggested she bleach her skin, and even within her own community, she encountered harmful beauty ideals rooted in colonial standards. But instead of internalizing that rejection, Nyakim made a radical decision. She would not change. She would redefine. Her rise began on social media, where she started Music, posting bold, unfiltered images of herself. No lightening, no softening, no apology. The response was immediate and global. Millions were drawn not only to the richness of her skin tone, but to the confidence with which she wore it. Her photos weren't just aesthetic, they were statements. In a digital age obsessed, Music, with filters, Nyakim became a symbol of authenticity. As her following grew into the millions, major fashion brands took notice. She collaborated with companies like Fashion Nova and appeared in campaigns that highlighted her striking presence. But unlike many who entered the spotlight, Nyakim didn't allow the industry to reshape her narrative. She remained vocal about colorism, self-love, music, and the need for deeper representation of dark-skinned women in media. One of her most defining moments came during a viral interview when a driver allegedly offered her $10,000 to bleach her skin. Her response was simple, yet powerful. She refused without hesitation. That moment echoed worldwide, not because of Music, the money, but because of the message. Her skin was not a flaw to fix. It was her identity, her pride, her power. Beyond modeling, Nyakim has become a speaker and advocate, using her platform to encourage young people to embrace who they are. She often reminds her audience that beauty is not a hierarchy, it is a spectrum, and every shape belongs. Her words carry weight because they come from lived experience, not theory. What makes Nyakim Gatwech truly rare isn't just her appearance, it's her refusal to shrink in a world that once music tried to dim her. She turned rejection into recognition, criticism into confidence, music and difference into influence. In the end, her story is more than visual, it's deeply human, a reminder that self-acceptance is not music given, it's chosen. And when someone dares to choose it fully, they don't just change their own life, they change how the world sees music itself. Ducky Thot. Ducky Thot's rise to global recognition feels almost music cinematic, a journey that begins not in the spotlight, but in quiet invisibility. Born music, Ducky Thot in 1995 to South Sudanese refugee parents in Melbourne, Australia, she grew up in a world where beauty rarely looked like her. Magazine covers, television screens, billboards, none reflected her deep complexion or her striking features. For a long time, she existed outside the frame of what society considered music ideal, but that absence didn't silence her ambition. It sharpened it. Her first major step came in 2013 when she appeared on Australia's Next Top Music Model. Though she didn't win, something far more important happened. People noticed. Her presence, tall, poised, unapologetically different, lingered in the minds of viewers. Still, the path forward music wasn't smooth. Early in her career, she faced criticism, online harassment, and industry skepticism that questioned whether her look could be commercially viable. Instead of retreating, Ducky made a bold decision. She left Australia and moved to New York, stepping into a larger, more competitive arena. That risk became her turning point. In 2017, she walked in Kanye West's Yeezy show, marking her official breakthrough on the music global stage. Soon after, she became one of the standout faces of Rihanna's Fenty Beauty, Music, and Savage X Fenty campaigns, brands celebrated for redefining inclusivity. These moments, music, weren't just career milestones, they were cultural shifts. Ducky wasn't just modeling, she was helping reshape the definition of beauty in real time. Her career quickly expanded. She appeared in Vogue, walked for major fashion houses like Moschino and Oscar de la Renta, and became one of the rare dark-skinned models, music, to achieve consistent high fashion visibility. Each runway she stepped on carried a quiet statement. Representation is not a trend, it's a necessity. Yet, music, beyond the fashion world, Ducky's impact runs deeper. She has spoken openly about colorism, identity, and the psychological weight of growing up unseen. Her story resonates with young people who have felt excluded by narrow standards, reminding them that visibility is something worth music fighting for. What makes Ducky Thot truly rare isn't just her beauty, it's her persistence. Music, she didn't wait for the world to make space for her. She stepped into it, reshaped music it, and held the door open for others. In a world that once overlooked her, Ducky became impossible to ignore. And in doing so, she proved something powerful. Sometimes, the people who were never meant to fit the mold music are the ones who redefine it forever. Adut Akech. Adut Akech's story, music, begins far from the glitter of Paris runways or the flash of Fashion Week cameras. Music, it begins in a refugee camp. Born in South Sudan in 1999, Adut spent her early childhood in Kenya's Kakuma refugee camp after her family fled civil war. Life there was defined by uncertainty, limited resources, harsh conditions, and a future that felt anything but guaranteed. Yet even in that environment, something quietly powerful was forming: resilience. At the age of 7, Adut and her family were resettled in Adelaide, Australia. It was a new beginning, but not an easy one. Adjusting to a new culture while carrying the weight of displacement, she often felt like she didn't belong. Her dark skin, her height, her features, things that would later define her career, made her stand out in ways that weren't always kind. But what others saw as difference, Adut would eventually transform into distinction. Music, her entry into modeling, came almost by chance. At just 16, she was scouted and soon found herself walking in St. Lawrence Spring/Summer 2017 show, an extraordinary debut that immediately placed her on the global fashion map. That moment wasn't just a career launch, it was a statement. A former refugee, once overlooked, now commanding one of the most prestigious runways in the world. From there, her ascent was rapid, music, and undeniable. She became a muse for major fashion houses including Valentino, Dior, Versace, and Givenchy. In 2018, she made history as one of the few Black models to close a Chanel couture show, a moment widely praised as a milestone for representation. That same year, she was named Model of the Year by Models.com, solidifying her status not just as a rising star, but as a defining face of a new era in fashion. But Adut's impact extends far beyond aesthetics. She has used music, her platform, to advocate for refugees, working with organizations like the UNHCR to raise awareness about displacement, music, and the realities millions still face. Her voice carries authenticity because it comes from lived experience. She doesn't just represent music, beauty. She represents survival, strength, and possibility. Despite her success, Adut remains grounded. In interviews, she often speaks with humility, crediting her family and her past for shaping her perspective. Fame, for her, is not the destination, it's a tool, a way to tell stories that might otherwise go unheard. What makes Adut Akech truly rare isn't just her presence on the runway, it's the journey that brought her there. From a refugee camp to music, the pinnacle of high fashion, she embodies a truth that resonates far beyond the industry. Where you begin does not define music where you can go. Her story is more than inspiration. It's a reminder that even in the most uncertain beginnings, greatness can take root. Music, and when it does, it has the power to change not just one life, but the way the world sees millions. Music Slick Woods. Slick Woods doesn't fit into the traditional narrative of beauty, and that's exactly music. Why the world couldn't ignore her. Born Simone Thompson in 1996 in Minneapolis, her life began in instability. Raised largely by her grandmother while her mother was incarcerated, Slick's early years were shaped by absence, survival, and resilience. By her teens, she experienced homelessness in Los Angeles, navigating a reality far removed from the polished world she would later enter. But what could have broken her instead forged something raw, music unapologetic, and undeniably magnetic. Her breakthrough came almost by accident. Discovered in 2015 through connections in the creative scene, she was introduced to photographer David Mushkin, whose lens captured her in a way that felt unfiltered and real. That authenticity caught the attention of Kanye West, leading to her appearance in the Yeezy Season 2 campaign. With her shaved head, gap-toothed smile, and tattooed music body, Slick didn't just stand out. She disrupted everything the industry thought it knew about beauty. Her rise accelerated when Rihanna cast her in the Savage X Fenty show, a platform known for celebrating diversity. On that stage, Slick wasn't just modeling lingerie, she was redefining confidence. She walked with a presence that felt fearless, almost rebellious, as if daring the world to look away. Music, yet behind that bold exterior was a story layered with struggle. In 2019, Slick revealed she had been diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. Even while undergoing chemotherapy, she continued to appear in public, sharing her journey openly on social media. Images of her walking the runway just days after giving birth, with her body still healing and her health uncertain, became symbols of strength that transcended fashion. What makes Slick Woods truly rare isn't just her look, it's her honesty. She has never tried to polish her story, music, or fit into expectations. She speaks openly about pain, about mistakes, about survival. In doing so, she gives others permission to do the same. Her career extends beyond modeling into acting, music, and creative direction, but her influence can't be measured by titles alone. She represents a shift, a move away from perfection toward music, truth. Slick Woods didn't rise because she conformed, she rose because she refused to. And in a music world obsessed with flawless images, her existence is a powerful reminder. Sometimes, the most impactful beauty is the one that dares to be real, even when it's messy, complicated, and completely unfiltered. Jalishia Nightingale. Jalishia Nightingale's story feels almost unreal, like something pulled from fiction, yet grounded in a very human journey of pain, transformation, and quiet triumph. Born in Barbados, music, she entered the world with a feature so rare it would both define and challenge her early life. Striking, natural blue eyes set against music deep, rich skin. A combination so uncommon that many who saw her didn't know how to process it. And music, when people don't understand something, they often reject it. As a child, Jalishia became a target. Classmates mocked her, calling her unnatural, even a ghost. The attention wasn't admiration, it was isolation. By the age of 12, the pressure had become overwhelming. She began hiding her face, covering her eyes with her arms just to avoid music, the stares. What made her extraordinary in appearance made her feel invisible in spirit. Music, but something shifted as she grew older. At 18, Jalishia made a life-changing decision to leave Barbados, music, and move to Switzerland, following her partner. It was there, far from the environment that once defined her, that she began to see herself differently. Surrounded by new perspectives and opportunities, she slowly stepped out of hiding. What once felt like a burden started to look like potential. Curious, she submitted her photos to modeling music agencies. The response was immediate. Her rare features, once ridiculed, became her signature. Jalishia entered and won a European modeling competition, marking the beginning of a career she never imagined possible. Soon, she was signed to agencies, working across London and Europe, appearing in editorials and campaigns that highlighted not just her eyes, but the story behind them. But modeling wasn't her final destination, it was a platform. Music. Jalishia has since pursued acting, attending workshops and preparing for roles that allow her to express something deeper than appearance. For her, visibility isn't just about being seen, it's about being understood. She speaks openly about her past, about bullying, about music self-doubt, and about the long journey towards self-acceptance. What makes Jalishia Nightingale truly rare isn't just her genetics. Music, it's her transformation. She didn't simply go from hidden to visible, she went from rejection music to ownership, and that shift carries a message far beyond fashion. In a world quick to label differences as flaws, Jalishia stands as living proof that uniqueness, music, is not something to conceal, it's something to claim. Because sometimes, the very thing that made you feel like an outsider is the same thing that makes you unforgettable. Nikeesha Phoenix. Music. Nikeesha Phoenix's journey doesn't begin with applause. It begins with music discomfort. Born in the United States, she grew up noticing the freckles scattered across her face, features that made her feel different in ways music she didn't yet understand. In a world where beauty often followed rigid, narrow standards, those freckles became something she tried to hide rather than celebrate. As music, a teenager, she faced teasing and quiet self-doubt, constantly questioning whether she fit into a definition of beauty that rarely reflected her. But over time, something powerful shifted. Instead of chasing acceptance, Nikeesha chose ownership. She stopped covering her freckles and began embracing them as part of her identity, not a flaw, but a signature. That internal change would become the foundation of everything that followed. Her breakthrough didn't come from a traditional agency or music casting call. It came from visibility. While sitting in a cafe, she was discovered by a representative from alternative apparel, a moment that would open doors into modeling. Soon, she appeared in campaigns for brands like Coca-Cola and Target, bringing with her a look that felt refreshing, real, and unapologetically authentic. Yet, modeling music was never her only mission. Nikeesha became a voice. She launched the platform Black Girl Beautiful, a movement dedicated to celebrating diversity in appearance, especially within the Black community. Through essays, photography, and public music speaking, she challenged long-standing beauty standards and encouraged others to embrace what makes them unique. Her message was music simple but powerful. Representation isn't optional, it's necessary. Beyond fashion, Nikeesha expanded into mental health advocacy, speaking openly about self-image, identity, and healing. She participated in panels, workshops, music, and community events, helping people understand that confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. What makes Nyamachi Phoenix truly rare isn't just her appearance, it's her perspective. Music. She transformed insecurity into influence, turning something once hidden, music, into a symbol of empowerment. Her story reminds us that beauty isn't about fitting in, it's about standing, music, fully in who you are and giving others permission to do the same. Winnie Harlow. Winnie Harlow's story begins with silence, the kind that comes from being misunderstood. Born Chantel Brown Young in Toronto, Canada, she was diagnosed with vitiligo at just 4 years old, a condition that causes patches of skin to lose pigment. As those patterns spread across her body, so did the attention. Music, but not the kind anyone would wish for. She was bullied relentlessly. Classmates called her names, questioned her appearance, and made her feel like she didn't belong. Music in her own skin. At times, the pressure became so intense that she considered giving up on school entirely. For years, mirrors reflected not confidence, but confusion. But Winnie didn't stay in that place. Instead of hiding, she chose visibility. Her turning point came through social media, where she began sharing photos that embraced her vitiligo rather than music concealing it. Those images caught the attention of Tyra Banks, who invited her to compete on America's Next Top Music model in 2014. Although she didn't win, she left something far more valuable, a global impression. From there, her career exploded. Winnie walked for major fashion houses like Dior, Fendi, and Victoria's Secret. She appeared on magazine covers. Music starred in global campaigns and was named one of Time's most influential people. Her presence on the runway wasn't just about fashion. It was about rewriting what beauty could look like. But beyond the spotlight, Winnie became an advocate. She speaks openly about self-acceptance, bullying, and the importance of representation. Her message reaches millions. Your difference, music, is not your weakness, it's your power. She has inspired countless individuals to embrace their own uniqueness, especially those who once felt unseen. What makes Winnie Harlow truly rare isn't just her skin. Music, it's her courage. She took something the world tried to label as abnormal and turned it into a global symbol of strength. Music, her journey is a reminder that beauty isn't about perfection, it's about presence, resilience, and the bravery to be seen exactly as you are. Nyamachi E's. Nyamachi E's story begins with mystery, one that left even science searching for answers. Born in the United Kingdom to Nigerian parents, Nyamachi entered the world with features that seemed to defy expectation. Fair skin, soft golden hair, and striking blue eyes. In a family where both parents had deep, dark complexions, her appearance sparked immediate curiosity, confusion, and even speculation. But Nyamachi was not adopted. She was not an anomaly to be explained away. She was, as music experts later suggested, a rare expression of genetics, proof that human DNA holds combinations music far more complex than we often imagine. From the moment her photos surfaced online, the world reacted with fascination. Headlines questioned her origins, strangers debated her identity, and social media turned her into a viral phenomenon. Yet behind the attention was a quiet, grounded decision made by her parents. Protect her childhood. Rather than allowing the spotlight to define her early years, they chose music privacy. They limited media exposure, prioritized education, and ensured that Nyamachi grew up like any other child, playing, learning, and discovering who she was beyond appearance. For them, she was not a spectacle, she was their daughter. As time passed, Nyamachi's story evolved from curiosity to conversation. Scientists pointed to her as an example of genetic diversity, showing how recessive traits can resurface unexpectedly across generations. Her existence challenged simplistic ideas about race, identity, and appearance, reminding the world that biology does not always follow predictable patterns. Occasionally, she has appeared in controlled photo, music, shoots, and educational campaigns, but never as someone chasing fame. Instead, Her presence has remained symbolic, an invitation music to rethink assumptions about what people should look like. What makes Nyamachi E's truly rare isn't just her appearance, it's what she represents. A living reminder that identity, music, cannot be reduced to skin tone or features alone. In a world quick to categorize music, Nyamachi's story asks a deeper question. How much do we really understand about human diversity? And perhaps more importantly, are we ready to accept that beauty and identity can exist far beyond the boxes we create? Khadija Dia. Khadija Dia doesn't just walk into a room, she commands it. Born in Dakar, Senegal in 1996, she grew up in a society where even within her own community, her exceptionally dark skin made her stand out. From a young age, she was met with harsh words, teasing, and pressure to conform to lighter beauty standards that have long dominated global perceptions. Music, but Khadija refused to shrink. Instead of internalizing those voices, she turned them into music fuel. When she moved to Paris as a teenager, the challenges didn't disappear, but her perspective began to change. Surrounded by a broader cultural landscape, she started to see her skin not as something to hide, but as something powerful. Her breakthrough came when a photographer shared her images online. The internet responded instantly. Her deep, luminous complexion, so often music criticized, became the very thing that captivated millions. She was soon given a name that would follow her worldwide, Melanin Goddess. But Khadija didn't stop at admiration. She turned it into a movement. Through social media, she began advocating for self-love, especially for dark-skinned women who rarely saw themselves celebrated. Her message was clear. Beauty is not limited, and darkness is not something to be corrected. It is something to be honored. Her modeling career expanded rapidly. She worked with major brands, appeared in campaigns, and walked runways that once excluded people who looked like her. But beyond fashion, she became a voice against colorism. Music, speaking openly about the psychological impact of being told you are too dark. She often shares a simple yet powerful belief. My skin is not a flaw, it is my crown. What makes Khadija Dia truly rare isn't just her appearance, it's her defiance. She took a standard that once rejected her and forced it to evolve. In doing so, she didn't just change her own music life, she changed how millions see themselves, because sometimes the boldest act isn't becoming someone new, it's refusing to become anyone else. Thando Hopa. Thando Hopa's presence music feels almost otherworldly, yet her story is deeply rooted in purpose, intellect, music, and quiet strength. Born in South Africa with albinism, Thando grew up in a society where music difference often attracts misunderstanding. From an early age, she was aware that her appearance set her, music, apart. But unlike many who are defined by that difference, Thando chose to define herself beyond music. What makes her journey especially rare is that modeling was never her original path. Before stepping into the fashion world, Thando built a career in law. She worked as a public prosecutor, dedicating herself to justice, music, and advocacy. Her life was grounded in discipline, education, and music service, far removed from the glamour of runways. But everything changed music when she was discovered by a designer who saw not just her unique look, but her presence. Music. When Thando entered modeling, she didn't just participate, she transformed it. Her striking features, combined with her calm, commanding aura, quickly captured international attention. She became the first woman with albinism to appear on the cover of Vogue Portugal, a historic moment that challenged global beauty standards. She also worked with major brands and designers, using every platform to expand representation. But for Thando, visibility was never the end goal, it was the tool. She has used her voice to speak about discrimination against people with albinism, particularly in parts of Africa where harmful myths still exist. As a UN advocate, she has addressed issues of human rights, identity, and inclusion, turning her personal, music, experience into global impact. Her words carry weight because they are lived, music not rehearsed. What makes Thando Hopa truly rare isn't just her appearance, it's her duality. Music, a woman who can stand in a courtroom fighting for justice, and on a runway redefining beauty. She proves that identity is not limited to one role, one image, or one expectation. In a world that often separates intellect from image, Thando unites them. And music, in doing so, she reminds us that true power isn't just in being seen, it's in what you choose to stand for once you are. Diandra Forest. Diandra Forest's journey is one of defiance against invisibility, both literal and societal. Born in New York with albinism, she grew up in an environment where her appearance often made her a target. As a Black woman with albinism, she existed in a space few understood, navigating a world that struggled to place her within its narrow definitions of identity. From an early age, Diandra faced bullying, exclusion, and the constant pressure of being different. But unlike many who are pushed to the margins, she chose to step forward. Her breakthrough came in 2008 when she made history as the first Black model with albinism to be signed, music, to a major agency. It was more than a career milestone, it was a cultural shift. For the first time, someone who looked like music Diandra was not only visible in fashion, but celebrated within it. Her presence on runways and in campaigns challenged long-standing beauty norms. With her pale complexion, light eyes, and confident music posture, she disrupted expectations and forced the industry to expand its perspective. She went on to work internationally, appearing in editorials and fashion shows that placed her at the forefront of a growing movement toward inclusivity. But Diandra's impact extends music far beyond modeling. She has become a vocal advocate for people with albinism, particularly in regions where the condition is still heavily stigmatized. Through public speaking, humanitarian work, and collaborations with global organizations, she has helped raise awareness about discrimination, violence, and the need for protection and education. Her story is not just about visibility, it's about voice. What makes Diandra Forest truly rare isn't simply her appearance, it's her courage to occupy spaces that once rejected her and to transform them from within. She didn't wait for acceptance, she created it. In doing so, she became more than a model. She became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that identity is not something to be explained away, but something to be lived fully and unapologetically. Because sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is simply refusing to music disappear. Ava Clark. Ava Clark's story feels like a paradox at first glance. A child whose appearance challenged assumptions before she could even understand them. Born in the United States with albinism, Ava entered a world where her porcelain skin, music, platinum blonde hair, and light eyes set her apart instantly. But unlike the quiet curiosity that often surrounds uniqueness, Ava's early life was marked by confusion and at times cruelty. As a young girl, she faced bullying from classmates who didn't understand her condition. Questions turned into whispers, whispers into isolation. For many children, that kind of attention can shape self-doubt, but music, Ava's journey would take a different direction. Her turning point came unexpectedly. At just a few years old, a photograph of her began circulating online, capturing the attention of audiences across the globe. People were drawn to her striking look, but more importantly to the story behind it. What started as viral curiosity quickly evolved into opportunity. Ava entered the world of modeling at a young age, working with brands, music, and appearing in campaigns that celebrated diversity in a way that felt both fresh and necessary. Music, her presence wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about representation. She became one of the few visible Black children with albinism in mainstream media, offering a reflection music that many had never seen before. But behind the camera, Ava's life remained grounded. Her parents played a crucial role in ensuring that fame, music, didn't replace childhood. They emphasized education, normalcy, and self-worth beyond appearance. Ava continued school, built friendships, and grew into her identity not as a music symbol, but as a person. As she matured, Ava began to understand the impact of her visibility. She became an advocate for awareness around albinism, speaking about inclusion, acceptance, and the importance of challenging stereotypes. Her story helped shift conversations from curiosity to understanding. What makes Ava Clark truly rare isn't just her genetic condition, it's her presence in spaces that once excluded people like her. She stands at the intersection of beauty, identity, and education, quietly reshaping how difference is perceived. In a world that often reacts before it understands, Ava represents something powerful: the idea that visibility can lead to empathy, and that being seen, truly seen, can change everything. Lola Chuil. Lola Chuil didn't just appear on the internet. She arrived like a visual paradox that challenged everything people, music, thought they knew about beauty. In 2016, a simple photo shared by her mother quietly entered social media. Within days, it exploded across platforms. The world paused, not because of filters or editing, but because Lola's features seemed almost unreal. Deep, luminous skin, symmetrical facial structure, and an expression that felt both modern and timeless. Many quickly labeled her Black Barbie, but that nickname barely scratched the surface of what made her rare. Born in the United States to South Sudanese heritage, Lola represented both cultures. Her appearance stood out, music, in a digital age saturated with sameness. Yet what truly sustained her rise wasn't just aesthetics, it was depth. Unlike many viral figures who fade after a moment of attention, Lola built a presence rooted, music, in intention. She demonstrated a strong interest in global awareness, often engaging with ideas around identity, representation, music, and cultural pride. There have been widespread claims online that Lola speaks multiple languages, sometimes exaggerated into 8 or more. While such numbers are difficult to verify publicly, what is clear is her strong academic focus, music, and intellectual curiosity. She has consistently emphasized education as a priority, choosing balance over blind pursuit of fame. That decision alone set her apart in an era where visibility often outweighs substance. Music. As her following grew into the hundreds of thousands across social media, fashion photographers and brands began to take notice. Yet Lola remained selective. Rather than chasing every opportunity, she appeared to value authenticity and music, personal growth. This restraint gave her image a rare quality: mystique. She wasn't everywhere, and that made every appearance more impactful. What makes music Lola Chuil truly rare isn't just her look, it's the way she reframes beauty itself. In a world still influenced by narrow standards, her presence quietly expands the definition of elegance. She represents a generation that refuses to shrink or simplify identity for acceptance. Instead, she embodies complexity, African heritage, Western upbringing, intellectual ambition, and visual uniqueness, all coexisting without contradiction. Beyond aesthetics, her influence reaches music, something deeper. Young girls, especially those with darker skin tones, have found in her a reflection they were once denied. Music, representation in this sense, becomes more than visibility. It becomes validation. Lola's rise reminds us that beauty is not a fixed standard dictated by trends, music, but a living expression shaped by confidence and truth. Her journey is still unfolding, and perhaps that's what makes it so compelling. She is not yet a finished story, but a symbol in motion. Proof that sometimes the rarest music thing in the world isn't just how someone looks, but how they choose to exist within it. Mekhi Alante Lucky. Mekhi Alante Lucky's music story doesn't begin on a runway. It begins in a moment most people would want to forget. In April 2016, music, a mugshot taken in North Carolina, unexpectedly changed his life. Charged with minor offenses, Mekhi had no idea that the image capturing him at his lowest point would soon go viral. Not for scandal, but for something the world couldn't look away from: his eyes. One a piercing blue, the other a deep brown. A rare genetic condition known in music as heterochromia. Within days, the internet transformed a mistake into an opportunity. But what makes Mekhi's journey compelling isn't just his appearance. It's what he chose to do next. Instead of being defined by his past, music, he embraced reinvention. Modeling agencies quickly reached out, and by mid-2016, he had signed with St. Clair Modeling Management Music in Atlanta. The transition was swift, but it wasn't superficial. Mekhi approached this new chapter with discipline, understanding that attention alone wouldn't sustain a career. Music growth would. His look challenged traditional standards in fashion. Music, in an industry often driven by symmetry and predictability, Mekhi stood out precisely because he wasn't music either. Editorial shoots began to highlight his dual-tone gaze, using light and shadow to emphasize contrast rather than hide it. Campaigns followed along with runway appearances that positioned him as part of a broader shift toward unconventional beauty. Yet behind the visuals, there was a deeper narrative unfolding. Mekhi spoke openly about his past, not to glorify it, but to reclaim it. He acknowledged his mistakes, framing them as lessons rather than labels. That honesty resonated, especially music, with young people who saw in him a reflection of second chances. His story became less about fashion and more about transformation, the idea that identity is not fixed by a single moment. As his career progressed, Mekhi expanded beyond modeling. He participated in community outreach, speaking to youth about accountability, self-worth, and music, the importance of direction. In a world quick to judge, he became a reminder that growth is possible when given space and choice. Music, his presence both online and offline, carries a message that feels increasingly rare. You are not your worst music decision. There is also something quietly powerful about how Mekhi carries himself. He doesn't over-explain his uniqueness, nor does he rely solely on it. Instead, he lets it exist as part of a larger story, one that includes resilience, awareness, and purpose. Mekhi Alante Lucky is rare, not just because of how he looks, but because of what he represents. A turning point, a second chance, and proof that sometimes the very moment meant to define your downfall can become the foundation of your rise. Amido Leum. Amido Leum's journey is a story of quiet defiance, one that begins in the small town of Kikum in northern Uganda, far from the global fashion capitals she would one day conquer. Growing up, Amido didn't see herself reflected in magazines or media. Her tall frame, dark skin, and sharp features didn't fit the conventional standards she was surrounded by. For a time, she believed she didn't belong. But everything changed when she entered and won Africa's Next Top Model in 2013. That victory wasn't just a title. It was a doorway. It gave her the opportunity to step into an industry that had rarely made space for someone who looked like her. When Amido arrived in New York, the challenges didn't disappear. The fashion world, despite its global reach, still carried narrow definitions of beauty. Castings came with rejection, doubt, and the constant pressure to conform. But Amido chose a different approach. She leaned into her uniqueness instead of softening it. That decision, music, became her strength. Her breakthrough came when she began working with high-fashion designers who valued bold, unconventional beauty. She walked for brands like Marc Jacobs, and appeared in editorials for Vogue, where her presence felt both powerful and necessary. Her look, striking, regal, unapologetically African, became her signature. But Amido's impact extends beyond the runway. She has been vocal about colorism and the lack of representation for dark-skinned African women in global media. Through interviews and public appearances, she challenges the industry to move beyond tokenism and embrace true diversity. Her message is clear. Inclusion is not a trend, it's a responsibility. Off the runway, she has explored acting and creative projects, expanding her voice beyond fashion. Yet, no matter the platform, her mission remains consistent. Music, to be seen fully, and to make space for others to do the same. What makes Amido Leum truly rare isn't just her beauty, it's her resilience. She didn't wait for the industry to change. She walked into it, stood tall in her truth, and forced it to evolve. Her story is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful presence is the one that refuses to shrink. And in that refusal, a new standard is born. These rare individuals didn't just stand out, they stood firm in a world that often tried to reshape them. Their journeys remind us that what makes us different can also make us unforgettable. But here's the real question. Are we truly evolving in how we define beauty? Or are we still trapped in outdated standards disguised as modern ideals? Maybe the issue isn't what we see, but how we choose to see it. Share your thoughts below. Let your voice be heard, and join the conversation. If music, these stories moved you, support the mission by liking, commenting, and subscribing to Memory Lane Black People. Because representation matters, and every story deserves to be remembered.